But by the sounds of things, from what we're reading all week, it sounds as if there were about 7,000 different things trialled or sandboxed yesterday. Maybe you could take us through what happened.
Yeah, no, Joanne, I suppose when the news came out during the week, people were probably anxious that there's too much, there, and that there's too much going on and everything else. So we're still early enough in the process in terms of filtering it down. And obviously by the time it comes to proposal stage, we will have it distilled down a good bit. But we did meet up in Mullingar yesterday, and we had one of the sandbox games, and we were very grateful to players from the Midlands, from Westmeath, Offaly, Longford, Kildare, that came in and they helped us out yesterday, because it's all well and good, no more than if you're planning for a match like today, talking through things and planning and everything else, but to actually see them being played out and fleshed out, seeing the strengths, seeing the weaknesses, was a huge help to us, and we were very grateful to all the players who attended. Obviously
it's a big committee, so there's lots to say and you've lots of opinions going there, but from what you saw personally, what worked and what didn't?
Yesterday, we weren't trialling everything, but the things that worked and were very positive was we had the 2-point arc in play. It promoted the bit of long distance shooting. It promoted the defence having to push out. Thing maybe that we hadn't anticipated was there was more shots, and there was shots dropping short, and it created a bit of chaos inside around the goal mouth, which was good to see. Tap and go or solo and go was in play yesterday. It worked very well.
Just for people who don't know what you mean by that, just maybe take them through.
So it basically is that if you're awarded a free kick, that you can elect to solo and play on and just play as normal from there. That worked very well, particularly if there's a kind of a delaying foul in the middle of the field. It allows the player to play on quickly and continue with a quick counter attack. We tried the new version of the advanced mark yesterday. It worked well. So like I said, it was positive, but at the same time, it is early in the process, and we're still anxious for people to give feedback via the survey, to fill in that free text box in particular, to make sure that you can have your say. And like I say, early days, but positive.
Kieran?
Well, I suppose it's great to have one of Jim Gavin's deputies here. Are you a lieutenant or a captain, Eamonn, on the ship, or what are you?
I don't know what I am, Kieran.
He's under pressure now.
No, I think, in fairness, Joanne, looking at the proposed changes, I think firstly, it's important to point out they've moved very quickly with it, which is very positive. They're taking this seriously, and I think all the proposed changes definitely benefit the player in possession and try and quicken up the game and make it a more positive spectacle. So I think that's got to be welcomed, and I think there's some great ideas in there. There's some simple ones that are no-brainers, I think, that will come in. I think probably the biggest challenge is that we don't do too much with the game too soon, and that they're sternly road tested. And that was one of the questions I was going to ask, that when you get into these sandbox games, as you call them, that you will have maybe managers trying to break the rules and look for the unintended consequences, will you?
Yeah, as we go further down the line, that's our intention, Kieran, that we would, whether it's ourselves within the committee or even bringing in and inviting external people in, to try and find a way around it, so that, like you said, that there will be, unintended consequences probably with things that we try, but we're trying to minimise that, so that anything we're bringing in is contributing to the game. The ambition is lofty in terms of trying to make it the best amateur game in the world to both play and spectate at. So we're aware that it's lofty, but at the same time we're trying to do everything in our power and from a good place to make sure that the changes are positive, that it is more carrot than stick, and that we're trying to encourage positive football as much as we possibly can.
And sorry, I suppose with yesterday's game that you had, what was the player feedback like in terms of playing the game with some of these rules? Was it positive for them, or was it, I suppose, with new rules it can be challenging? Did they take to it well, or?
Yeah, no, it was exceptional, and I was very impressed both with the players in terms of how quickly they got to grasp with things, and David Coldrick refereed it, and he was excellent as well, and how quickly. Now he's a top ref and he's a very bright man in general, but he was excellent. He got the thing very quickly, and it was very impressive. Players were delighted. One bit of feedback that we kind of laughed at afterwards was Nigel Dunn from Offaly was playing, and he was playing inside in the full forward line, and he felt that he finally was getting a chance to play as a full forward and burn his energy inside there rather than chasing the likes of you back to field all day. So
they're bearing the squares back.
You can make a comeback as well to inside there. But no, they were very good, and they also highlighted some issues with some of the rules as well. So
sorry, like what, Eamon?
I'm trying to think now. There was In terms of the stop clock was all positive as well. We trialled that as well yesterday. Possibly judging the kick inside for the advanced mark to make sure that they're inside the 20-metre line.
So will you just go through that advanced mark, the changes to it, sorry, for anybody missed?
Yeah, the change to the advanced mark is that the kick would be from outside the 45 as it is, but it has to travel all the way inside the 20-metre line. And there's also the little add-on then that rather than stopping and claiming the mark, that the forward can play on, and if no advantage accrues, that they can come back and take the mark. And
so essentially there, Eamonn, you'll play on all the time because you have the mark in your back pocket. You can go back no matter what happens. If your shot goes wide, if it's saved by the keeper, you have the mark and you can go back. So it's a free shot basically, is it?
It is, and it's to encourage, I suppose. One of the frustrations with the offensive mark for all of us was that when you saw forward, maybe in a one-on-one situation, straight away they have the hand up and they have to stop, they have to make the decision, whereas this now gives them the chance to go at goal, ask a question, and if no advantage accrues, then they go back and they get the original
I think what I like as well though is you might get more duels there, so your 1v1 battles that we don't see enough anymore, and actually defenders having to defend in those positions, because when we played, and not more myself I suppose, it was always kind of one-on-one combat, so I think that promotes that side of it too, although I always feel sorry for the defenders.
The big change, Eamonn, about holding the tree up, was that something that was trialled yesterday? Is that one that is form of offside really? Is that going to cause confusion, or is that something that has to be worked through?
Yeah, we trialled it yesterday. I should have mentioned that at the start as well, and it actually worked quite well yesterday. The players got it very quickly. What I felt personally that would happen with it is that if a player did start to go outside the 65, straight away the opposing players are calling the ref to alert them to it. David Coldrick, the way he refereed it, rather than trying to be constantly looking that there was three inside, when the ball was kicked, similar to a square ball, he'd have looked to make sure that there was the three in there. And it worked well. What it did was it helped keep the traditional shape on the game. But again, very early days. We know that with that one, in terms of refereeing it all the way down to Junior B and everything else, that there are considerations, and we still have a bit of thought to put into it.
And just to confirm on that if you do bring anything in, is it at all grades, all levels of football, which means all referees, not just all Ireland final referees, will be dealing with all of these?
Yeah, and look, that's our ambition, Joanne. There are some rules, as we know, that are for the inter-county game only, but for the most part we're trying to keep it that it is for everyone. And as part of the consultation, Jim Gavin met the referees. I was at a focus group in Cork last Thursday night. They were excellent actually in their feedback and in some of the challenges they brought. There was two referees at that from their perspective, so we are consulting with them. We're anxious to make their job easier rather than overburden them.
One last thing before we let you go, because it has been all positive. Tony McAdee, and we'll be mentioning him a little bit later on, in the Examiner yesterday, he wasn't as complimentary. He's obviously the Sligo manager, All-Ireland winner with Armagh as well. He said the FRC survey, this is a survey sent out to everybody, itself is well thought out, guiding the respondent along the correct path and helps them make the right decision. In other words, it is manipulative, cunning and calculating.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. Look, I wouldn't agree with Tony on that, Joanne. And in fairness to everyone, to Tony and everyone else, everyone's entitled to their opinion. That's why we're consulting so widely. That's why the free text box is in the survey. That was a big debating point amongst ourselves at the start, because it's very hard, obviously, to collate all that information in free text. There's over 5,000 replies in the free text that we are compiling, reading through, making sure that we hear all of it. So I'm sorry that Tony sees it that way, but that's certainly not where it's coming from. It's to try and give people their say, and I hope he filled in the survey, he filled in the free text box as well, Joanne.
Try have Tony as a coach.
We might mention Tony a little bit later on when we get to the Tailteann Cup semi-finals. For now, Eamonn is heading off to get ready for Dublin against Mayo later on.